Tucker, we're in here for 4 hours.
No.
Kind of, 3.5. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about what we've been talking about your monologues and all that stuff. And I want you to ask questions. If you are not sure, make sure you ask questions because supposedly that's one thing. Oh, hey, maybe if I plugged in the VGA course, that would help. That doesn't mean y'all get to talk because I have to plug in a VGA cord. Tyler and Jack, if I'm going to have problems, you're not sitting next to each other. It's time for you to learn how to control yourselves. Please don't make me control you for you. That's not why you're in this class. Okay? So, get it together. Alright, so let's review. Yes, if you can grab one set of lights, a big set, that'd be great. We talked about this. I don't really want to go over this because this isn't going to help you too much today. Objective, will. What does your character want? Okay? So be thinking about that when you perform. You want to think hard about your objective when you're saying this monologue and it needs to play that you have a reason for talking. Please don't break this hair wall. I am trying to make him or her do what in order to do what? Okay? What are you trying to make him or her do and what does that get you? So when you're talking about adverb-verb combinations, you really need to think this way. How are you going to make someone do something that you want them to do? Okay? So the adverb is how you're going to do it, and the verb is what you're trying to get them to do, or like what you're doing to them. Sorry. So adverb is how you're going to do it, and the verb is what you're doing to them. I'm reviewing. Okay. I'm filming myself. This is for my master's program, so I'm trying not to stop. So, yeah, I can send a kid down to bring it or lunch. No problem. No, thank you for reminding me. Okay. So obstacle. What's getting in your way? Why aren't you getting what you want? There's usually some reason that you haven't said this before. It might be yourself. It might be your children. It might be the person you're in love with. It may be something environmental. Maybe distance. It may be time. Okay. And then tactics. Like you have to change what you're doing. If you don't get what you want in the first section of your monologue, change tactics. What I've been seeing from my Theater 3 students is this. What do I mean by that? When I do that, same. Yes. They start here emotionally and they end here emotionally. Okay? And in between, they do this. What should it look like in between in a monologue?
It should be like a mountain.
Yes, we should get, what is that called when we go?
A climax. Rising action.
Right? No, those are all terms.
Building
Right. As actors, when you're doing this, what are you doing?
Building momentum.
Yes, we should see all these builds, and then you go back down, and then you build. Do not keep it at one level. Do not think that memorizing your monologue is a win for you anymore. Okay? You've got to get past that. That is step one. Okay? That does nothing. That doesn't get you any brownie points anymore in an advanced theater class. Okay? Memorization is just basic. You just do it. Alright? Now you have to decide how you're going to get what you want. And it's not about, I'm going to be sad. I'm going to play sad here, then happy here. No. You're going to sadly confront. Angrily push. These are things that you can play that isn't like, I am playing mad. Okay, what are you doing with the mad is what I'm interested in, to the other person. Okay, importance. High stakes. Make it important, right? Is your monologue important? If it's not, pick a different one. If you don't find any importance in what this person is saying, then you pick the wrong monologue. Doesn't necessarily mean it'll be spelled out for you. You need to find it as the actor. And if you can't, you need to choose something else in the future. Talked about this. What do you want? Believability is important. How do you get believability? What are some things you can technically do with your execution of your monologue that makes it more believable, do you think? Paige.
Well, I know that it makes it very unbelievable when you fidget and put your hands in your pocket and you
run around like stuff. So be into your character instead of what you're doing.
Okay, physicalize the character. Great. Don't wander. I saw a lot of that with my Theater 3 students who did great with mini areas, and it's hard. But a lot of wandering for no reason, a lot of fidgeting, nobody could stay still. A lot of this, a lot of this. Okay, plant your feet. It feels weird at first, but the more you do it, the more natural it will become for you. Yes, Erin.
Don't keep your voice monotone because then it just sounds like you're reading it off of memory and not like actually playing a human.
Good. So find fluctuation in your vocals. Vocal variety, we call that. So you go up and you go down and you play with pitch even. Remember where we can put our voice. Sometimes it's in our chest. Think about your character. Like I had people playing moms in the other class. Some of them did really good and put their voice down here because they're a more mature character, and usually a more mature character is going to have a voice down here. And then some of them are just still 6th graders, 7th graders, 8th graders in their head voice. And it didn't make sense for these older, wiser characters are usually going to come from this area with their vocal, not up in here. Okay? So think about that. Yes?
Try to imagine some, like, the character you're, like, trying to get something from. Try to imagine them and try to get it from them.
Good, yes. Talk to the person that you're supposed to be talking to. Don't talk to us. Okay? We're just interlopers, like, spying on this moment that you're supposed to be having with someone else. It's very hard sometimes when you first start doing monologues to bring that element in, to realize this is really a duet scene with one person just not there, but it is. Okay, so we really need to imagine that other person and play to them and not just a random space on the wall so you're just kind of out in the middle of nowhere looking. Like you have no focus if you don't imagine that other person. Reese.
Not only should you show your emotions on your face, but you always want to be loud, but don't stay at the same volume the entire time, because let's say you get angry and you could start being really loud and then you get sad. You don't want to be the same volume because it will sound like you're still kind of angry even if you aren't.
Good, yes. You want to even find vocal variety when it comes to how loud you are. Because we want the projection always, but that doesn't mean we're yelling always. That doesn't mean that we're right here the whole time. You got to find times where you get loud and you get insistent and then you pull it back. That makes it more interesting. Also slow down. So many people rushed through their monologues that I had no idea what to feel about it because I was still on the first sentence trying to process and they were done. I'm like, what just happened? Just kind of feels like disappointing because you want to take a journey with somebody but they're running away from you. You know, it's like, wait, let me come with you.
That kind of sounds like stuff.
You already won the race and I'm back here wondering what happened. Yes.
So, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell, but like when you're in different emotions, your body looks different than it does when you're just like normal. And if you're like all tense and you're happy, it doesn't go. So,
Right.
like,
Make
you
sure
need
your
to match.
physicality matches your emotion. Very important. You can't and that goes along with the wandering around. If you're really intense and wanting to tell somebody something, but you're kind of fidgeting and doing this, then it takes your power away. When you're on stage, you want to come from a place of power, not a place of weakness. Not like, I'm sorry to interrupt your life right now, but can I have a monologue? No, you want to get in there and like, hey, you're going to listen to me, even if your character might be like that. You as a person should be up there like going, hey, watch me. I'm going to do this thing and it's important and you want to look at it. Yes.
Have a variety in speed.
Please have a variety. I don't want this in any way. Not vocally, not speed. You shouldn't go too fast, but you need to have moments where you pick it up. You can't just be like this patternistic, I am talking at this rate, and this is how I'm going to deliver my monologue, and I'm going to say words like this the entire time, and okay, I don't know what to feel about any of this. How are you getting anything from this character? I'm not giving you what you want. I don't know what you're asking for from me, but you can't have it, because A, I don't know what it is, and B, you're not insisting I give it to you. Okay, so win. You want to win. That doesn't mean the same thing. That doesn't mean we yell at people. There are different ways to do it. Sometimes it's getting really quiet. Sometimes it's being at like a kind of a scary monotone place for a minute. People are like, whoa, she was up here and now she's right here. So she must, I don't know, that's a change. What does that mean? But keep it inconsistent. Consistency is bad in performances as far as like in your vocal Not necessarily in your performance. You want consistently a good, strong performance, but you don't want a consistent vocal that goes like this the entire time that your audience will tune out. Yes, Jordan.
Be sure that like when you're doing your emotions on stage, that you don't like make it harder for people to understand you.
Okay, good. Yeah, just because you get excited, you can't start talking really, really fast where I can't understand a word you're saying. You can't go up here. The human ear is like, done. Turning that off. Don't want to hear that. And they seriously will. And there are some professional actors that do it, and I'm just like, you lost me. It could be so much more effective if you slowed down, brought it under, instead of like just hammering me with screaming. Okay? So sometimes it's effective to get loud, and sometimes it's not. But you gotta try it. Have fun. Play around. See what you can do. If you've been doing your monologue one way, pick a few places where you're gonna change it up. And that's why what we're doing with the charting, I think is gonna help you a lot. Because you're gonna have different sections where you can play with different things. And you can go, okay, here I can try this, and here I can try this. And maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work, but if it doesn't work, what can you do? Change it. We're going to be coming back to these monologues later in the year. So for today, you don't have a lot of time, and so we're just starting out. So I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, they put that they were going to intensely confront, and I'm not seeing that here. I'm just going to look at your monologue and your chart separately for this assignment. And I would like for you to try to apply some of your charting to your monologue, but that's very hard to do with such a short amount of time. So I'm more interested in them being separate entities today, and then later we'll make them marry together more and really work on the marriage of the two, of the chart to the monologue. Okay? Subtext. Don't forget, what is subtext? What does subtext mean?
Doesn't it mean like what you're trying to say?
Okay, it is, but what's the important distinction there, Aaron?
It can kind of introduce what the I lost my train of thought.
What you're trying to say, but
You're not actually saying.
you're not actually saying it. It's what you're trying to say underneath the words coming out of your mouth. It's the I love you, please love me back. That's not coming out of your mouth, but that's what you mean. That's what those words really mean. Or please accept, like Reese, isn't yours about your sister? So it's like, please like me more. Please don't think she's the best, right? That's the subtext pretty much going on. I'm really mad because everyone loves my sister more than me all the time, and I feel inferior. It's kind of, could be every line, really, but it's not, because that would be a really boring monologue. So a lot of other words come out, but that's the real, like, subtext of what you're trying to say.
Even if you're not.
But not always saying it. Yes. And there are some playwrights that focus solely on subtext. So it never really comes out in the play, what's the point? But the actors have to play it, and they have to get it across the audience, even though the writer never puts it in there for them. And those are fun, but very challenging, as you can imagine. So directing versus acting. When are you directing when we do our charts and stuff? Yes.
Saying you're gonna go stage left at this time, and upstage at this time, and downstage at this time. You're gonna do this with your arm at this time.
Right, and who are you saying that to?
Yourself.
Yourself, right. But yes, it's exactly. I'm going to go downstage, and I'm going to move upstage. That's you directing yourself, and you got to learn. When are you acting? When are you making actor's choices? The emotions you play. The beats you play.
The way you say your monologue, like what voice you use.
Your vocal variety. That's all going to come from the acting side. Okay, good. So you need to put them both together and make sure you're strong in each section for this. Then your questions, which you should have to turn into me today, should always know these, even if your teacher doesn't make you answer them. Okay, as an actor, before you go into an audition with a monologue, make sure you answer this question. Who are you talking to? Even if you don't know and you're a bad actor and you didn't read the whole play, no, decide, okay? You decide. If you don't figure it out because you don't have enough time, you found this great monologue, didn't have time to read the play, but you're going to decide. I am talking to my father. I'm talking to my brother. Decide. Where does the monologue appear in the play? You should kind of know. And again, if you can't find the play or didn't read it because you were lazy after for this particular time, but you really like this monologue, think about, does it seem like a start? Does it seem like an end? Does it seem like something that happens in the middle and more stuff builds from this point, and decide. What happened up until this point, including this monologue? Again, you need to decide backstory if you can't read the play for some reason. What happened to your character? Where are they when they walk into this scene? They weren't in science class before this. Where were they? Okay, yes.
So I found the script on the internet, but I'm not sure if it's accurate because it starts off with my monologue and it's just like a big group of monologues in the same play, from the same play, and it honestly just doesn't make any sense because they're not really talking to each other.
And that happens. Some people write plays like that. Usually there's a through line, though, of a play. It's usually not just vignettes, but sometimes it is. And again,
I tried to find summaries of like a Wikipedia of some sort, but I couldn't.
so from what I would say to you is, I don't care how good you think the monologue is. If your assignment is you need to read a play and you need to answer these questions, then you pick another monologue. Okay? So, everyone just needs to know to do that. If you can't meet the assignment, then you should have reevaluated that and changed your monologue a long time ago. Then you don't go forward. You start at, I have to find a monologue from a play. Oh, look, Miss Becker put like 500 plays in the play file that I could have picked one, a monologue.